What is up, everyone? Kane here of Days Pirates, Gear 5 Productions, with another week of League play. Ignore that label there, that's week 4 for my fourth video, but actually there's only 4 weeks left in our O7 League going into this night. So I'm going to jump into a couple games. I'm probably going to end up cutting off the commentary after into actually round 4. I missed round 1. Well, really, I didn't get the chance to record round 1 because I was running late. I played a Gecko. They elected to go second, and I just got to play my game and won that one relatively handily. Got set up for round 2. Got another Gecko. Noteworthy, this Gecko is actually tied with me for 8th place going into this round, so we'll jump into the gameplay. I didn't have quite enough time to do a deck tech this week, but there are some slight adjustments. I got banished Zoro into the list, so I will be doing an updated deck tech pretty soon, probably after this weekend. I'm going to go to Peoria. I'm not sure if I'm going to try and get into the main event or just do some side events, but I'm going to be in Peoria this weekend trying to win at least a pudding from a side event, if not, sneaking into nationals maybe. Um, so I'll do a deck tech on what I do there and kind of what I'm looking forward to into Store Treasure Cups. But I'm gonna jump into some gameplay today, just because I don't quite have enough time for it. So yeah, they're going second here. I lost the roll. They're going first, and I mulliganed. He did not. There is like a Lorcana draft going on right behind us, so a lot of background noise today. Epsilon, no effect, turn 1. Don't hate that. I'm debating whether or not I want to counter out there because the Perona will rip away at your hand. Decide not to. Go straight in for 6. I was kind of debating whether or not I wanted to run that law out just vanilla. I did because he just blew the Absalom. I kind of figured he doesn't really have immediate plans to be answering things, or doesn't have other options available. Maybe I should have been thinking that he has 2 Absaloms, but I don't know. Here I just kind of went for it based on what I had available. Maybe it would have been better to swing in a little bit more aggressively, but I did get the blocker in here. Now he swings in the 7K. I 2K that. So our blocker lives, and we counter out of both of those. Feel pretty good. Going into 6 Don. This is where Miss All Sunday is a nice little bridge. Pushes up to 7, draw a card. So I'm swinging in 7, he takes. And we go. So now I got Newgate and Dragon in hand. I'm looking great for that. He is checking me aggressively here. I do use a Zoro to counter out here. So the Banner Zoro is a new addition. As far as this channel is concerned, I've toyed with it before. A lot of people do use it as an Enel or yellow counter, which is great, but it does just kind of smooth out our curve, and it's a searchable threat that is a 1K. We don't have very many searchable threats now. I know that does change into 08.5 and 9, but right now our searchable threats are limited. Here he hogbacks his Gecko. At this point, I am feeling a little uncomfy. I'm not sure where the turning point of this game is going to go. Now here I go immediately up to 9. Use my leader to go to 10. I think I end up jamming the Newgate here to kind of pressure him out of being able to swing at me in the subsequent turns. So I'll go 6K with Miss All Sunday. Go full 9 because I don't have a Rad Beam or anything to hold up. 8K leader. Take 2 life there. Feels great with the 10K body being developed. And now I feel like I'm in a pretty commanding position. I know I only have a Jet Gatling with a threat in hand, but at this point, he cannot Gecko without just playing into and swing into me. So Realistically, if he does just go hyper aggressive, could hypothetically be concerning, but yeah, feel pretty good about this position. This is basically where we want to be. I know he's been playing a decent amount of Gecko. I've played with against him before, and I think he's been on Gecko basically through his whole league. Maybe he's played some Lucci as well. I don't know. I haven't played against him in this league yet. But like I said, we were tied for 8th place going into this round, and we're both 1-0. So pretty big game for us. Does decide to go for the Gecko play. Realize he has too many characters there. Hina off a brand new, pick up Verona, and play out Hina just to have another body. So at this point, I kind of like obviously want to go for game, but just swinging in with Newgate um, isn't gonna get all that much done because he just blocks it. And then if I go into a Gear 5, I have to hit all 3 at that point. So I don't think that's enough. So I'm kind of deciding how I want to sequence out what I want to do with my dragon here. We end up going straight for 8. We actually use the dragon effect to give 2 Don to Newgate to KO the Rebecca here and threaten that life. Obviously, he's going to take that. The reason that I kind of decided to sequence it in this manner specifically is that I wanted to pressure him and make him feel concerned about me having 2 radical beams in hand. And then here I just decided to take 1 more body off board just in case he does decide to go all in despite my kind of threatening. Go straight for 6. We take that one just to see a little bit more cards. Love to see a 2K there. Now we got 2 2Ks. Hit that. Now he only has 2 attackers. He knows they both have to hit. Here, I'm kind of doing my quick math, and we do Jet Gatling there instead of. I guess realistically, I could have or should have done the Sanji. 2 Sanjis. Or 2 2Ks rather, instead of over countering 1. But I don't know, that ends up being kind of a non-factor. Oh, I guess because of the 6K hit. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I was thinking that was a mistake, but now I use that 2K to get out of here instead of having to Jet Gatling out of this hit, which kind of shows me a little bit more. I just end up taking that because I just want to see another card again. At this point, I'm planning on going for game next turn, and I have Sun God, so I'm feeling pretty great about it. If he's not answering my board, I have 9K, 10K, 7K, 10K, 12K next turn, and he has 1 blocker. So we draw, we jam. 9. The fact that I send that first as opposed to attaching. Oh, wait, no, that's a Sabo, not a Newgate. But he does counter out of that. I'm like, okay. But if that used that many cards, then 10 probably feels pressured to block. Send in for Gear 5. Don, 7 into life. He takes that one. I know I'm good to go there. All right. Yeah, big win there. All right, now we're going into round 3. I'm 2-0. Run into a Luchi. So we're going through the Black Gauntlet tonight. He did win the roll, and he did elect to go first, and neither of us mulliganed. He was saying that he was not super familiar with this matchup or this deck. So you do see him kind of reading through some cards, and I talked to him some more afterwards about kind of how to play against him, what he's doing. Spandam grabs a Kaku immediately. I'm like, okay, that's not really what I want to see on turn one, usually. I'm like, okay, hopefully no stage. Do like seeing milled stage, milled Gecko. Two Geckos milled off two Spandams. We love to see that. And then he sends 7 into 6K. Here I'm debating giving him 2 cards or not. I have so many Rampers in hand that I do just elect to do so. It's 2 Zoros. Maybe I could have taken that and started checking other 6Ks later, but I don't know. I just kind of had the cards, don't need them for anything else. Save that life for something later. Counters out of 7 from leader, 2K and a 1K. He swings, minuses, Kakus. Kind of saw that coming. Checks out. I was just confirming if it's CP specific and how many cards. Now we're going to 7. This is where we want to be on our even curve. Obviously, 7 cost kids kind of the staple here, but this is where Banished Zoro does become massive. He fills this curve, and like I said, is a counter later, whereas a lot of other threats are not. I do think once we get a ST10 for this deck, we probably won't be running him anymore, especially not in 09. Maybe? I don't know. An L is still pretty annoying, and my mission with my next few tournaments is if I don't win, I'm not going to let an L win over me. Maybe it's a little spiteful, but it is relevant, and this card is still a great threat in other decks as well, or against other decks as well. Khalifa's here to be able to loot through. When he does this, after minusing 1 already, I was kind of concerned he was going to immediately check my Zoro again. Two counters, 2 cards that are good to have in his trash off of Gecko. Noteworthy there. No, he hadn't swung yet, right. But he did -2 Zoro with the Khalifa, and now I'm kind of thinking he might be trying to KO it as well. The 3 down left, maybe not so much, especially now once he swings 2K. And I do end up just taking that, and it's a John Beta hand. Looking pretty good. The 6K, again, I kind of am just looking to draw some cards and run into the late game with this. I didn't really have any counter, but I do have a couple Radical Beams in hand. I didn't want to just get rid of a Robin too early there, so that's why I ended up taking that. $7,000 Banish, got in there, and then 8,000 Leader gets in there. Now I'm realizing that he's relatively bricked up, or at least not wanting to counter out, so I'm feeling in pretty good position. The Radical Beam, Dragon, and a Jambe to boot there. Another Sabo here. No, Sabo was last game, and the Khalifa was the loot earlier. First Sabo of this game. All blends together when you play 4 black decks in a row. Oh, spoiler, I'm playing another Lucci next round. He sends 7 into Zoro here. I do elect to protect it. I'm kind of debating letting it go. But then he sends another 7. We counter out of that as well. At this point, I figure I'm kind of committed to protecting it because I do want to kind of push in and maybe Jambe through or do something else. I'm going to start with 6. Give that 2K checkout. Get a dragon in. Put the 9K onto, or the 2 down onto Zoro. Send 9K rush first. So this is what I'm doing here. You might notice or you might not. I'm trying to get in with the banish. I want the banish to connect. I'm trying to get this blocker out of the way. So I hit this 8K first, or 9K first. He hits that. Then instead of going for the 9K, which generally you do want to do the smaller swings first, I know, I do go for the 10K just to kind of keep the pressure on and that banish for last. Send in 10. And then I do send in the 9,000. He takes that one. It's a Rebecca, huge. And then, yeah, he kind of ends up joking about blocking that one instead. So some tight sequencing there. You know, it's a little thing that you can kind of maybe rush past or not think much about. But getting in for that banish is absolutely huge there. I mean, I do have a Jambe to be able to push through next turn, relatively likely anyways. But still, very relevant. At this point, I don't really have any more threats, but I very well have him on the ropes. At this point, I think I basically radical beam to protect my board if I need to. Because I don't really think he is taking a position of trying to go in all in on me. Which realistically, if he goes 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, can you do that? 2, 4, 4. No, you have to do 6s, 4 6s and a 5. And I get out of 1, 2, 3, 4. Or 1, 2, 3 guaranteed. Pause for just 1 second here. So he's kind of deciding here. I'm going to pause and see what's going on with my video here. There we go. Alright, we are just going to kind of push through here. The game's wrapping up. He's trying to kind of push back or maybe answer my board potentially. But at this point, I'm really just trying to protect my life. He swung with the Kaku. I did 1K it. And he is debating what else to do. He did Tempest Kick to -3. The Newgate, obviously I can't see his hand, but I'm curious if maybe actually getting one of these other cards off the board would have been a little bit better. But hard to tell. Yeah, someone had come over and asked about the stream, if we're streaming. We're wrapping up here. Okay, let me see for a little bit. Pause. And I am wrapping up, relatively speaking, and I was going to just kind of show the transition of the next call. Okay, he does end up soap sheeping to try and answer. Then he has a Gecko. So I think the Gecko does end up letting him pop the Newgate specifically. Yeah. But it's just not quite enough. So he had Tempest kicked, then he soap sheeped, he swung, and then he geckoed. Sorry about that video. I'll have to figure out why this isn't buffering out properly when I am exporting this sped up. I had worked the first couple weeks, but then last week we had a similar issue, right? So I do appreciate you guys being patient as I continue to bring better gameplay and more commentary to everything we're trying to do here. So he goes to my turn. And I rip a gear 5 off the top here to just extremely secure it. I think relatively speaking, I could probably just down up and get in anyways. But with this hand size, and then gear 5 just absolutely locks it up. So I do end up getting there through the gear 5, so I'm just going to let it play for kind of while I mention the next round. So here I'm now 3-0 after being 2 Geckos and a Lucci. I go into another Lucci matchup. A top 8 player has been playing Lucci this entire league, basically. And I'm not gonna like as I commentate through the entire game. He really just beat up on me. He hit 2 stages, and if you're wondering why Ennie's lobby was the hit to nerf Lucci specifically as opposed to getting rid of Gecko, see how different that game is, where he does get 2 lobbies. One action that I did kind of want to mention here is this game, early game. He plays a turn 1 stage. Obviously, I'm like, great. And I'm debating about playing my ramp out, playing Zoro. Do I even bother playing Zoro here? I'm worried about the same play that's gotten me last week, right, where they 2K, then they straight into a Lucci. And I'm also just as concerned about the potential of Ennie's lobby into Brook. Between Ennie's lobby into Brook and just going straight from this Lucci swing into playing a Lucci, I may have just been smarter to swing heavier into lead and save this card for later. The greed or the thought or the reason I went for this is because I did want to get into my banish Zoro as quickly as possible. And otherwise, I don't have any actionable early turns before then. But I play it, and then he gets to go from there into playing his Gecko or his Luchi, and from there he just has complete agency and kind of just tears me up. So I am just going to kind of cut here and play from the beginning of that gameplay. I think I'm out to figure out this buffering issue. I'm just a little bit tight on time. So I end up losing to him. He goes on and wins in the finals. We were the last one of the last XOs going into this last round. So with that being the case, he went into the finals, and I ended up playing a Bonney last round. I'm going to post that gameplay as well. They went second, and realistically, they had played 4 searchers, 6 blockers, a Cavendish on turn 3, and a Doflamingo on turn 4. So I'm sorry, turn 5 or 6 at their 10 down play. As soon as they got the 10 down, they played Doflamingo with already having a Cavendish, and while playing 6 blockers throughout that curve and 4 searchers. Just immense value. That is a tough matchup. Have to get those Cavendishes off the board. Have to get those Arujas off the board. But I'm just going to also upload that gameplay without talking completely over it. Yeah, excellent. I'm going to drop off here. Looking forward to my regionals this weekend. I'm going to do a deck tech coming out of that with my list and how I felt coming out of that. And I also want to get a video in preparation for OA. I know Red Purple Luffy is becoming a hot topic, so I am going to do a starting with RP Luffy video, kind of talking about how you can get a budget build up and running, what are kind of some of the more premier cards to begin to purchase when you start to really like the deck, and what that looks like. So looking forward to that, guys. But yeah, I'll cut here and I'll just play those last 2 games out. If anyone wants to check them out, you can critique me in the comments or let me know what I missed or how I could have played better. But I don't know. It was relatively tight play. Probably a couple things I could have done a little bit better, but I'm just a little low on time, and I got beat up on pretty good. They played some good cards and got me. So thanks all for viewing.
perfect circle when you come visit. That was quick. Alright, good luck. Ciao. Gauntlet sometimes. I'm gonna drop 2.
When attacking, he trashes a 2 or less, and then I can put 4 costs or greater to the bottom of my deck, and for every 3 that I do, he gets +1. It's a very complicated way to word it, but yeah, I'll pass.
Look at the top 5 cards. 2, 4 to 1 into my hand. 2, 4, what's the new lock? Oh, it's a 3? Oh, I didn't know.
Do you have any down open?
No, down.
How many cards? 6? 6. Go 7 at leader effect. -1.
Yeah, 6 down left over after that?
Yep. How much total down do you have?
I have 6 total.
Okay.
Get down. 8, 2. So we're going to circle it up. Sure. Take 1, and I will plus 2. 31.
-2, so he's 4. -2, so it's 2.
Drop.
7 at leader, and I'll touch him.
Oh, even better. Send 6 into 0. Before. And go fast. Go ahead. I'm going to pay 2 to play Red against Party. I'm paying 2 to move these guys there. I'm going to plus for 6.
5 leader effect. -1 to
I don't think that's a card.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, yes, it is a card. They got some weird names.
So I'm going to play Tempest Kick to draw a card. I don't get the minus yet. Now I'm at 9. So I'll play another Tempest Kick, draw a card, -3. So she's at -4 now. She's at -6.
It can be counted by damage characters. It is, just a little bit.
Gecko will play Saba, Becca, and Papa. And I'll move to
That rush from my entire plan.
I went to use the Shenzi to finish off the stitch. He gets +2 because it's a second damage character. Plus the 3. So it's 6 cards. Go ahead.
What's that do?
Then Mora will.
Assuming you're on the floor.
Yes.
Oh, you only come with the Western, right?
Go ahead.
Ah, gotcha. Oh, that makes sense.
I'm when they're
Because
damaged.
you guys are closer to design, or?
Oh, Yes. Okay. Continue.
Okay. Four and 3 done.
That's amazing. Got me for.
How much you let it get?
It's a leader effects. Nice.
Like this. If I take this, and then for 3, I play player battle. Then I play this character, and it has 1 card.
5 total done?
Five
So
total.
next one.
Then for 2, play another.
I realized that with 5/5s, those are bumpers.
Yeah. How many locks do you have in your deck? What's your number? 1, 2.
I actually tested a couple of them because I didn't realize it was a 5/5. I won't be doing that tonight, and I probably won't end up drafting again, but if I did, I would definitely be paying more attention to that. I know I passed 2 of them easily. Yeah. I am going to do it for Watch out for that rush. Yeah, I got, well, you're right. I got a little excited there and went a little too fast, but got there.
2 CPs. Minus 3 Luffy. He's at 4 costs now. Oh, no, I didn't do that. He went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right in.
Yeah, I guess in 4 rounds, Gecko's gonna hire, not Gecko. You gonna buy? Active, draw.
I want that card to be good. I think it will be good. Red, steel. Plus, I think the one Arthur is my most favorite, hilarious way of taking out Daisy. You play Arthur, and then you swing Arthur to Daisy, play two or suicide roll. It's the most convoluted ass way to get her on turn 2, but it works. You can't do the same thing with Felicia.
I have to figure out a way to not.
Yeah, you have to play those 2 of them.
Eight now.
No, but what I'm saying is that if you have just play 2 of them, and you know you're playing against yellow, the ball you see if you can get them. If you don't get them, it sucks, but you definitely need to hit fox. You got the 8, so you can kill it on turn 3. But if you can bounce it for 1 turn and get it on the with the fox, I think you're safe. But you have to play a losing drop. So that's the problem. Because it's
This can help you get some of
those must be blue because I have no idea what they do.
This can keep your
and if you do, so it's equal, well, it's visual, but it's true. So you can't use it.
You're allowed to make changes and choose it. Yeah, that's how that's why it's confused. But that's
It's still better than 1 jump too because it's equal.
yeah, that's like you seem like you're ignoring what I'm saying here.
Passive one dot.
Hits.
Just grab on 3 and take care of it. That's how I get it.
You have 7 now?
Grab on 3, grab on drop, take it out. Well, they can do a couple options. And all you really need is a body with grab.
Oh, trash 2 cards at from your hand at random.
Until your opponent goes, Daisy Piglet, just in time, Chenpo.
Oh, am I back?
But, you know, just things like that. There's one guy at Warsaw who just started playing just in time with deck. This is different than mine, but he plays the higher end with like dragons and stuff. The only reason I get games on these guys is just and I had done that, so I put the 2 here and there now, so I don't have to deal with extra damage. I got sick of going out by that. And I'm playing it myself now.
This is a dragon monkey. I remember when I drafted like NCO, right? I'm like, are there even any dragons in this? No, there's not.
If it's so important to take out, we'll have to do it.
Oh my god.
Pass turn, range of
And you're at 8 total down.
How many legendaries? How many legendaries? 1, right?
I opened 2. I got 1.
Yeah, 2. You got enchanted, you got 2.
4, 5.
I got 3. 2 from the packs, 1 got passed. No, 1 from the packs, 2 got passed. Yeah, and enchanted.
And the enchanted, yeah.
We have like slightly more than like we have like a box of 3rd. And he opened up like 7 legendaries.
8 more.
I mean, my legendary is trash.
The 1,
9. And I think
we just opened like a
we did.
we just opened like a crack set of 32 bags. What the hell?
Sounds good.
And I don't even know if Katie had it.
No, Katie had what she passed to you.
Katie, no, Katie.
Oh, Katie, I don't know.
She did pass me a legendary.
I wanted to ask you that. I want to like see if there is like that.
Yeah, I play her.
What?
There's 1, 0, 1.
Yeah, so
I play her.
yeah, so 1, 0, 1, 1.
0, 1.
Oh, honey, I'm just a bad constructed player.
So you can play Katie. So she's 1, 1. You can play Katie. Or Andy.
Lena just landed.
Dragon.
Yeah,
the rest of the go.
Katie and
They
Jackie.
look nice. They're not just the shiny ones.
They have that little like,
You're either playing Kaylee or me because you've already played. Wow, look at this, guys.
You pull a double that's like a messenger. 2 there. I
See the big target?
pull 4. Big pull 3.
I put 1 by 6 to.
That's crazy.
Well, she purposely backed it to me to get a better card, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I appreciate it.
So you have 3 there. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
that's much more fun. That's a crazy
And he has 1.
Oh, 8. So literally basically everyone does 1 thing. And then she pulled yeah.
Oh, you getting? Wait, sorry.
Sorry, that's crazy. Okay, so 7 plus 1 plus enchanted.
Yeah, to give you an idea of my case, I got 1 enchanted and I think 13 legendaries. Yeah. That's crazy for those boxes.
That's 4 boxes.
To this day, we play 7,
4, 8, 12, 16, 24, box, 8.
We stole these chances. I mean, we stole all the good stuff out of somebody else's spot.
Yeah, so 7 legendaries and change it.
One of these days,
To this side. You have natural enough. That's the purchase.
yeah, I'll give you a primary.
That doesn't count the purchase, that's the event. I mean, like, you're
You pay for tax.
the fact that 5 boxes this set, 5 boxes last set, 4 boxes the previous 2 sets.
You only got 5 packs, 5 boxes. Last set, as a hot sauce being a set, we put Matt pulled the Jasmine champion from the set for 6 packs, and I opened second card to right on my winning packs. We pulled 2 packs in 1 pack. We need that last set. Yeah.
I know the skip turn thing. It's like,
Hey, did you ever see Steve's blue Amber's he beat me. Game 1 in the set championship. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Oh, you're the,
Yeah, but
with the mom from the Rooster Grill and Emma Doll. And then bring them in. And I'm so excited. It's not a piece of it. It's happening, just medical. I was surprised. And my mom was like, one to eight. I would call it. And then eventually I call Brad.
Treated very well. I kind of made it 12 in the double. I played the mirror. I made it start. I made it start 2 cards. She goes first one. Yeah, I just played things like 1, 2, and 1 Saturdays. But she traded optimally for how I guess people go.
it's better to make good trades with bad cards than bad trades with good cards.
Yeah.
Because your cards can always get better.
I mean, it was like 3 turns. So that was good. I like that. I just need a feature because I'm scared. But I like that.
you buy Luffy everything.
All my
Oh, yours.
It's an RTCG.
It is like, only game is like because you take, you play one card and then the other person goes and then you go and then
No, because you take all you can take
I
all
was a
your
little
moves.
bit cautious earlier.
Oh,
The interaction.
every year I play something you play, I play something you play. Yes. And then you're like trying to beat in the middle and have one hour. And then they have like a play card and then play it outward. So you like all even if you don't have a good run.
That is like,
Yeah. And then you would hear it.
Until the factory starts.
I might be playing next round, right there.
actually, Caleb,
Yeah, watch my shot.
You can come
I don't know how you'll do that. Well, actually, yeah, they'll probably do that to you too. Yeah. And she'll play her. She's always good as well.
So, yeah, those 2 packets here, because of what we were in pairs.
I need both of you guys to get rolled.
Oh my.
Or I'm just gonna win.
I think my brother plays
I'd be fine with just winning, but honestly, I'd be perfectly fine with just splitting it.
Maybe I'll put it in you get back.
Sucks to be us.
At least I thought it
Big ass 7 drop, 7 pack.
Crystal King always beats me.
Yeah, 2 of them.
And I got to be I got a map. Like a treasure map. I posted riddles in Discord and it's found. You get a card, you click on it, then all the cards you see at the top. And then if you ever break a card, then you can and then you go draft like rules, you draft cards that say foil and the type of card, and then you pick any of the cards you collection and make that foil, and then ask them to send that to you. So you have to get a random trade for you. Like, I love this card, I want to play this. And then
my player. Doesn't really matter, but it's technically.
I think we're trying to make an app as well, so that you can just have all your cards, and then you can trade digitally. So you can trade just digitally on the marketplace, and then you can have it with that card.
Yeah.
So if you go to a tournament, you have to have the card with your digital.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so if you trade it, if you card, you can have the card, you can play with it.
I'll make sure to see it slow pause.
So you guys have already accomplished that.
Yeah, I guess.
Only one copy of it will be valid.
I see what you're saying. Oh, it's probably because I didn't know before. That would help.
That is a great question.
Yes.
That's my question. Different. No. It is really just like.
I'm sure there's something there. I'll pretend to send something with you.
It's still insane that we're playing in Chicago. It's the most bullshit thing I've ever had.
That Chicago was the most bullshit thing I've ever had. That's what it was.
Jordan and Max, I had like
He said that he perfect deck for versus Budex. I played Green Steel.
she beat me in the
I missed every great steal. I played only blue.
Well, Tomas was saying, like, he said his plan was, he was like, plan is to not play any decks that can beat me and avoid playing 14,000 unblockable. And I was like, that's a good plan. And he like, I know you're on the wrong side of the building right now, but I'm glad I don't have to play you. Because he practiced first week, like, the day of registration, and I rolled him like 6 games in a row. It was like, it was an easy match. And I was like, if I can play you guys all day, I'm just going to win.
I
Fucking Diablos is
play against two best dudes. I only O2s.
yeah, we're very nice.
Chicago, but
And they get to professor. I'm like,
as
the person who beat me.
I'm supposed to be pretty solid. But like the guys I played against, like New York, they just like had no whatever for my castle. Get out of strength. No.